Hey guys, and welcome to the Service Alliance podcast. I am your host with the most equipment, Zach Kreider, and he's back. The man with a plan. He needs no introduction. He is my original co-host, Mr. TK Cousins.
What is up, everybody? Man, it is good to be back. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm home again.
It is
Um,
good to have you back, man. It is good to have you back.
it brings joy to my heart, to say the least, to be here. I hadn't been on for a while, but I appreciate my brother, Zach, holding it down and EJ doing his thing. All the awesome guests we've had lately have just been great, man. I've really enjoyed listening to them and getting to see that other side of things. But we have a special guest tonight. Somebody that I had reached out to a while back, um, and chatted with a little bit. You know, they were super busy, we were super busy, and then I finally the dots connected, and the thing worked out, and we got to get him on here to talk about the products that he is representing. Today on the podcast, we have Stan Kanevsky from Air Sled.
Welcome to the floor, Stan. Tell us a
Yeah,
little
hey
bit about
guys.
yourself.
This is exciting. I appreciate the warm introduction and being referred to as a special guest. Very few people have ever called me that. Um, and TK, yeah, I'm really happy that you gave me a reach out, months ago, and we were able to finally make this happen with your team. So let me kind of start off with a little bit about myself. I am originally from the former Soviet Union, from Kiev, capital of the Ukraine. So I came here when I was a little boy, 1980 or so. Yeah, December of '79. So I just bring that up because Ukraine, Kiev, Russia, they're a big part of the news cycle. So just there's a little bit of a personal connection with me, with Air Sled to some of that stuff that's going on, just because that's where my origins are from. But most of my professional life I spent in corporate America, doing stuff related with information technology, IT stuff. I spent most of my career actually at Johnson and Johnson, so the massive healthcare company here that's based out of New Brunswick, New Jersey. But I've been at Airsled now for about 4 years, and my transition, I think, is a little bit interesting. Just over 20 years ago, while I was working, I also set out to get my MBA, just to kind of further my education. My employer J&J was paying for it. So through the course of my MBA studies, one of those classes was pairing up the students with companies in the Philadelphia area. I went for my MBA here in the Philly area. We were paired up with small companies that needed some extra horsepower to help them build out some of their strategies or sales and marketing plans or operational plans. And I became connected with Airsled, who was a small company. It's been around since 1982, and it was really struggling because it really didn't know how to market itself that well beyond some of its core customer bases, like folks in the appliance and flooring industries. So when I met with them, we spent some time putting together a great, marketing plan, business plan. I handed it over to the ownership as part of my coursework, and they said thank you. And they never did anything with it. All those ideas that I felt were pretty good, pretty strong to help stimulate their growth. Management, ownership just didn't feel motivated to take that on. So fast forward almost 20 years later, was in that corporate rut, wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the rest of my professional life. So I reconnected with the owner of Air Sled. They were still having the same problems. They were teetering on the brink of going under, and we came to an arrangement where I ended up buying the business because I always felt that Airsled was a diamond in the rough. It was a very sleepy company that had a terrific product that really solved some key problems. They just never really had the vision and kind of the focus to achieve what I felt was possible. So that's how I got involved with Airsled. Don't have a appliance background, don't have anything to do with the Airsled technology. I just thought it was a company that had a longer runway. And I took the entrepreneurial plunge and got involved with it about 4 years ago.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man. You're a man after my own heart. The unique way of seeing how to market things and the longer runway for a company. I love that, man. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah,
So-
I was really impressed with my first introduction to Air Sled. It's actually a pretty cool story. You'd probably appreciate hearing it, Stan. My partner's dad worked for GE in the 1980s, and he was going out to, I don't know where he was at there. They had a shop or something somewhere, and he went out to the dumpster behind their shop, and there was an Air Sled vacuum in there inside the dumpster that somebody tossed out, one of the GE techs. So he took it home and fiddled with it with a little bit, got it working. Fast forward 30 some years, he's still got this thing. It still works perfectly fine.
Yeah,
All it needed was the pads that inflate, and that was it. So I called Air Sled. I talked to one of y'all's representatives, and I told the lady what I had. And she was like, "Yeah, I can hook you up. I'll get you just the pads." And she threw in something. She threw in like a shoulder strap and like a couple other things. It was just really good. I was impressed with the customer service. I was impressed with her, like taking the time to, talk to me. I was just really impressed with it. So, and that's what sets apart a company, in my opinion, is that first impression. And my first impression of Airsled was really good.
Well, thank you. That is a great story, and it's almost ironic to us because the build quality of our products is so strong because of the components we use that they can last for countless years. So a lot of our customers don't end up being repeat customers because the product is built to last, and we're proud of that. But we do refurbish air beams, those pads, because we see things come back that are 20, 25 years old, because we know based on certain markings that are not visible to the customer when those air beams are from. So it's but thank you for that compliment.
Absolutely.
What's Airsled's mission statement? Like what drives you to do what you do day in, day out?
I'm not sure if I can articulate a mission statement, but here's how I would frame what drives me, what drives Airsled is, and I didn't create this technology. It was created actually in the late 70s by DuPont engineers for agricultural purposes. But the person who founded Airsled saw an opportunity to shrink it and kind of commercialize it for the purposes of moving appliances, this low pressure airflow technology, this hovercraft type of technology. And what I wake up thinking about is, how can I deploy or how can I demonstrate this type of technology solving all the countless mobility challenges that exist in the world? Even though one of our most loyal and core customer bases are the appliance service technicians, there are so many other interesting and unique problems where somebody needs a solution that isn't a dolly or isn't a caster wheel, a hand truck, or a cart, or straps, or brute force. Those situations are many, and I always think about, how can I put the Airsled technology as a value proposition in front of those people to give, to help them give us a second look. We don't claim to be a silver bullet. We just want to be in people's stream of consciousness as an option or an alternative to what they may be thinking about as their solution.
That's awesome. So, do you plan on taking the route that some other companies go, or maybe you can't talk about it, but all the everyone's going battery operated? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, that is probably one of the most frequent questions that we get asked, because it's a legitimate question. I mean, if I was a customer, I would love to be untethered to an electrical cord or a socket. The issue that we have found is that the batteries, they just don't produce and sustain enough, I'll call it energy, to generate the type of airflow, air velocity, air pressure, especially when our air beams are under load. So when you put a load on top of the air beam, it restricts the airflow that is trying to escape through our air beams, which have perforated rubber fabric. And that restriction is pushing the air back into the blower. And the batteries right now simply can't overcome that. Now, you can use, a portable battery type of energy pack. People that go camping sometimes have these. They look like little boom boxes. They're rectangular. They have a handle. You could plug a bunch of stuff in there. Those things tend to be higher output, but the smaller things that you see, like a leaf blower or a duster at a heavier weight, they just can't deliver the energy that an air sled needs.
That's good. Yeah, I could imagine there would be a challenge there with the amount of. I mean, some of the stuff that I've used it on like a 48-inch range, but I've seen guys use it on bigger stuff than that.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing what they can move. They're really powerful. And once you get that thing up off the floor, like it's literally, for those listening to this that have never done it, like you can move it with one finger. It's crazy. How cool it is. But one thing I see oftentimes, we have a Facebook group, and people are always talking about air sleds and the different options and things like that. What would you say to someone that is considering buying an air sled and sees the other options out there, the generics, there's only one air sled, but there's other imposters that have tried to, be what y'all are. What would you say to those people that are looking to buy an air sled?
Yeah, well, those clones, those copycats, they're made by companies that actually used to distribute air sled products. And those companies are really in the flooring space. And what those companies did as part of their strategies is they looked at products like the Air Sled, duplicated them, and then outsourced the production to offshore companies, namely Chinese manufacturers. So my first comment to that is that's just business. That there is always going to be room for those low cost alternatives. And that's one of the great things about this country, is that you will have a choice. So we support that. However, with that choice comes certain trade-offs. And TK, you kind of hit one of the nails right on the head, is when you buy an air sled, you get the strength of our customer service. You get the strength of our engagement with you, the end user. I'm the owner, and you were able to get through directly to me, no problem. And I kept following up with you, and likewise. Also, all of our products are made domestically with U.S. labor, only using domestically sourced materials. The aluminum, the blower, the hoses, they all come from companies that are based with manufacturing in the USA. I get it. To some people that may not mean as much if it makes them pay $1 more than the next, imported alternative. But it's a nice type of, it's a nice thing to be able to tell people that, I run a business that is based in the USA and makes things in the USA. You're always going to get replacement parts if you need them. Everything is in stock all the time. We've managed the supply chain headaches because we're a domestically based supplier. And we have accessories that will enhance and expand the performance of your air sled. For example, even if you own one of our competitors' brands and you want to use you want to move a 48-inch or 60-inch range, if you don't have the 2x4s that can fill that gap to where the legs are, chances are you're going to look to our accessories, for our spacer kits to use with those other products. Again,
it's awesome. It is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, we support the competitive landscape, but we also, stand behind our Made in the USA, mantra, which is important for us, and it's been really a differentiator for us as we've seen, a nice growth spurt happening over the last 18 to 24 months for Air Sled.
And that right there is a big thing too. Like, you can get an Amazon knockoff of just about anything out there.
Yeah.
But for those that are wanting to support American made, I can guarantee you those other ones are not. I can't guarantee you because I don't know that to be a fact, but I would be pretty willing to bet most of them aren't made in America. So if that's something that's something that's important to me personally. So that's a big thing, and I'm sure for a lot of our viewers, that's a big thing as well, because you're not just you're getting a great product, you're getting good customer service, and you're getting something that's made here in the United States of America. And I know to me that matters. When somebody buys like the Air Sled or the extra add-ons or whatever, what type of warranty does that stuff come with?
Yeah, so all of our products have a very standard warranty. You get a 30-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. Okay, even if it's day 32, day 33, we're not going to be difficult, but that's a very standard type of warranty. Now, what we do try to do is if somebody does try to return the product, we usually try to engage in the conversation just to make sure we understand what the issue is. Because sometimes explaining performance nuances and giving them certain insights help them try the product a little bit differently and they get a better result. So again, we will always take a product back and give a person a full purchase price refund unless we see some really unusual wear and tear, because people do that, and we have to fix it, refurbish it. So but that 30-day money back guarantee warranty is clearly stated on our website. The other warranty portion is 1 year parts and labor. So if 9 months out you have a switch that breaks, and we don't ask why it broke, how it broke, or a little plastic foot, the screw snaps off. Again, we don't try to challenge you and say, well, you're being rough with it. We will either send you a replacement part or ask you to send something back so we can repair it and get it back out to you.
That's awesome. Do you have different variants, or is it more like, because like I know I personally have the Stan kit that you were talking about, and I also have the extension hoses for when you're going like really wide.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different features that one should understand about the Air Sled. And I will talk about a little bit of a supply chain headache that we're dealing with. So for the longest time, Air Sled products came in two flavors. They had an on-off button, so they were either on or they were either off, or the blower, the orange blower, could double as a vacuum cleaner. So you reverse the hose from the side that pushes air to the side that pulls air in. So you can clean up the workspace before or after or during, so you wouldn't have to carry that extra little dust buster or shop vac. What we did over the past few years is we introduced a couple of new features. The first is a variable speed feature. So as opposed to an on-off switch, a dial controller or variable speed helps you regulate the amount of airflow into the Air Sled system. So what that does, it helps you control the speed of how fast those pads, those air beams inflate. So if you're trying to move an appliance that has a really tight overhead clearance because of a countertop or cabinetry, being able to regulate or modulate how fast or how rapidly or how much your air sled inflates is a nice advantage. Unfortunately, because of the global microchip shortage, as part of the wider supply chain issues, the microchip, the control board in that switch, especially for our large blowers, became unavailable. And we're working on a replacement supplier, but that's, again, there's just so many global challenges right now. So we now rolled out a dual speed system. So instead of on off, it's high or low off. So with a low setting, you can test, especially if you have that tight overhead space, you can put it on low, which is a 50% power reduction. And that'll give you a sense of, okay, will a low setting at 50% still generate enough force? Or do you have to, flip the toggle switch to high? And we have videos that really demonstrate variable speed versus dual speed versus single speed performance to help you visualize what you're getting with those different features. So those are some of the flavors. And of course, we have different blowers. We have, a 1.3 horsepower blower for our light duty product line, a 2 horsepower blower for our standard product line, and our 4 horsepower blower for the heavy duty line of products. And all that means is that you can lift from 450 pounds to 950 pounds within that appliance mover product portfolio that we offer.
That's really cool. That is really cool. You definitely put a lot of thought and effort into like the way that your lines roll.
Yeah, I'm envisioning like an air sled Olympic event where like you have this. I've always had this vision of like doing like an ASTI event or something like that, having like different competitions, like who can break this dryer down the fastest, who can set up their air sled and pull this 48-inch range. That's probably not something. Or here's what we could do: we could set them up with some kind of seats and then race them across a large room, and whoever makes it across the room first. All right,
so TK, you weren't the only one to have that fabulous idea. And in fact, one of our sales channel partners that came online with us almost 2 years ago in Canada, as part of their introduction of the Airsled, system that they were now carrying at a trade show, they had a competition of who could move a refrigerator from a starting point, through a loop back to the starting point using an air sled. And whoever won that competition received a free air sled.
That's cool.
So there's all sorts of, fun ways to use it. Hopefully you don't misuse it. It's not a surfboard, although we see TikToks and other videos of people doing all sorts of interesting, perhaps not recommended things with their air sled, but still, it is interesting all the ways that people try to showcase their air sledding skills.
Yeah, I don't endorse that kind of behavior, but it was the very first thing I did when I got mine. We fired it up at the shop, and everybody took a little ride on it, so that was pretty fun.
Not surprising.
But don't do that at home, children.
So is there within reason, is there anything coming down the pipeline that you can share that you think might be a game changer for our audience, might be worth paying attention to?
Yeah. So heading into this podcast, I consulted with my attorneys. I consulted with very senior people in the U.S. government, and they all blessed me being able to share this information. So we have been, over the years, studying especially the appliance servicer market or customer profile to really understand what some of their continued pain points are. And one of the things that emerged is that if you need to service an appliance that's elevated, like a microwave over the range, or a microwave that's installed in a kitchen island, like a drawer style, it can be difficult. It can be risky. Sometimes you prefer to have a 2-man crew for safety. Sometimes You decline the job because of the risk involved. So we have a product that we have developed that will help technicians service those types of appliances that are elevated. So this is a lifting mechanism that's not powered by air. It's powered by a linear actuator, and you can use it to lower, to raise, or to support all sorts of things that otherwise you would need a second set of hands for, or perhaps some other devices that may work, but they really aren't elegantly designed for that type of scenario. So we have a working prototype, and we are now trying to partner with the right manufacturer on getting this thing commercialized and off the ground, because we think that that will really offer value and performance to folks in your trade, because we hear it firsthand that that is a common issue that sometimes doesn't have an elegant solution.
I was going to say that's an understatement. Like, that's an absolute understatement. That comes out, I'm coming to test it. You let me know when and where. I'm coming.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. That really is, like, time and time again, we hear the same thing. We hear it in our group constantly.
Yeah.
There's not a good solution for either or any of those.
Pulling down a over the range microwave, like, I do it by myself because that's how I was trained and I know how to do it safely. But when you're a new guy, or maybe, like, I'm not saying I'm,
you ain't going to be doing that forever.
Yeah, well, I'm not a strongman competitor, but I'm a fairly strong guy.
Mhm.
But, like, some guys aren't as strong as I am, and like, I would be afraid to send certain technicians out to pull
Right.
right over top of a glass top range. God forbid they drop it. So a product like that, and I've seen some of the ones that are out there, but none that I've been like, oh, I'm going to buy that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, we actually, Airsled has a really nice association with UASA, which is a really fine organization that puts out the ASTI, I guess a trade show or training, whatever the term is. And so we were able to do a survey with them, specifically asking questions around this need or this lack of solution. And we got some pretty good insights, and the overwhelming response, though, just reiterated the fact that this is a need in your industry. And the trick is for us is to come up with something that is lightweight, that is portable, that is intuitive for you to use, but is also priced in a way that makes it desirable, because it's hard to thread the needle across all those different dimensions. So, and COVID didn't help with some of our own prototyping and R&D. So I wish this product would be prime time ready already, but we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. But we're close.
Well, we're going to stay in contact on that, because that sounds like a really cool thing. And we love United Servicers. We have several board members in our group that we're in constant contact with. So we keep our finger on the pulse of that. We did our first, as a group, our first United Servicers ASTI this year, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Great time.
We went to one of their shows early on, and it was a fantastic experience. And we hope that we can return for the next one with this product ready to show people firsthand at their show.
That's awesome. We'll be looking forward to that. Is there anything that you want to leave our audience with as we wrap up the podcast? Any business acumen or little one-liner that you want to throw out there to leave the audience with?
I'm not sure. I'm certainly not some grand poobah of business or wisdom. I simply want to tell folks that Airsled, no matter what our YouTube channel or website may present, we're still a small business. with a very niche product, and we rely on our relationships and our reputation and our good standing with members of communities like that you're a part of to be successful, to get word of mouth advertising and recommendations and endorsements. So for those of you who have our products, we really appreciate your business, your continued support, and tell people about us. Tell them to look at our YouTube page or our website, or have them talk to you about your experience with an Air Sled. We know that it's it's not a cheap product, even though we have models at the lower end of the spectrum. Our best-selling model for the professionals is around $780. We're looking to create relationships with some national organizations that rent tools. So we're hoping that through that avenue, we can make our products more available to people who can try it before they buy it.
That's smart.
Especially professionals, because once they try it, even if you use it once a year, in that one situation, the cost of flooring damage or equipment damage or injury to yourself, that can certainly, outpace.
Yeah, it pays for itself in one claim. I mean,
yeah. So that's it. And we respect how hard you guys work, and we're just happy that our products can make your life, your job a little bit easier. Because I'm a homeowner, I've had appliance professionals in my home, and I know exactly now what to do. I get out of the way. I stay out of the way. I don't ask them any questions other than try to explain the situation and ask them to tell me when they're done, because whether they have an Air Sled or not, I don't even bring it up, because I don't want to pressure somebody to say something or make them feel unusual or awkward. I let them do their thing, and I'm always happy with the result, because I know how important it is to have a professional job done to get your appliances repaired and get out of a jam.
There you go. Yep.
Well, we greatly appreciate your time, Stan. We thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure to chat with you today, and I'm looking forward to seeing, keeping in touch and seeing what you guys have.
Yeah. I hope to be back, and I hope when I'm back next time we can talk about this new product and figure out a way to get some attention for it, and maybe I'll provide more interesting content for you and your audience.
Yeah, for sure. Just once it's ready, you let us know, and we will definitely put the word out for you, because I can guarantee you there's people out there right now that wish they had that tool tomorrow because of a microwave they're working on. So for sure. We appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you. Well, that was awesome. That was a great conversation, right? So
absolutely.
If you don't have an Air Sled, go get an Air Sled, because seriously, it is one insurance claim, and you would have absolutely more than paid for an Air Sled.
And the Air Sled, I'll say this in closing, the Air Sled is one of those tools, you don't need it till you need it.
100%.
And when you need it, you need it. So I keep one in my van. It's tucked in the corner. I have to move some bins to get it, but when I need it, I thank God every time that it's on my van, because without it, you're not moving that big boy. You're not moving that appliance that you can't move without the Air Sled. So it's definitely one of the ones you need in your arsenal.
It's saved my butt more than once. So anyway, well, for the Service Alliance podcast, it's your host and your co-host, the originals, signing off.
Peace.